everybody, live from the green couch in Los Angeles. I'm Olivia Christian, and you are watching Home Office Hours Live. Thanks so much for joining me, and thanks to everyone who is joining us via Zoom. If you are joining us via Zoom webinar, I just wanted to remind you to put your questions in the chat. And if you're on Facebook, please put your questions in the comments. There will be an opportunity for you all to hear your questions asked of myself or of Carrie. And if you write a question in there that is on topic, I would suggest that it's on topic. You are likely to win something from us, some material, some branding stuff. So I encourage you to do that. But let's jump in. I'm very excited about our guest. She, in addition to being a mom of two and a wife, which is already hard, I don't do those things. I can't imagine having that. In addition to being the founder of BRA, Business Relationship Alliance, please welcome Carrie Murray. Carrie, please say hi.
Hi there.
A double wave. I love the double wave. Thank you.
Double wave. It's funny is if we were in person, I'd never be like, hi. I would just say hi. But something about Zoom makes you use hand gestures.
I want to grab a hold of you. I just do. Carrie is in Los Angeles like I am, and we were talking earlier about how wonderful the weather is in LA. I think it's going to be another 80-degree day. I'm not from here. I'm from the Bay Area like you, Carrie, but you've been here for a while. Tell me a little bit about your transition from the Bay to Los Angeles.
Oh, wow. So once I graduated college, which I went for social work, I realized very quickly, I don't want to be a social worker. Thanks for the 4-year degree I got there. I decided to move to LA because, like most people, I was going to be an actor. And after about a year of being here, I was like, I don't want to be an actor either. Ooh, that is hard work, auditioning and schlepping all over LA. Funny thing is when I moved here, I thought Long Beach was close to Hollywood because it was only like 18 miles apart. But if anyone who lives in LA knows, if you live in Long Beach and you're trying to get to Hollywood on a daily basis, you're basically in an hour and a half to 2 hours of traffic every day. But that's when I decided to go back to graduate school and get my master's in education and pursue teaching.
So you've had a couple of pivots, ideas of what you thought you'd be doing, and you've had to make some swift changes. Tell me, are you now doing the thing that you thought you would be doing once you went back to school and got your degree in education? I would imagine no, because
no, yeah. It's so funny is if you ask 10-year-old Carrie was asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? I would have never said, I want to be a founder of a business network for female entrepreneurs. But I did. I was a teacher in LAUSD, public school teacher for 14 years before becoming a principal at a charter school in the Valley. And soon realized that being a principal was just filled with red tape and bureaucracy, particularly around a certain population of students, ones that are highly gifted and have special needs. They're called twice exceptional kids. So I decided to do the brave thing and just open my own school because how hard can it be? So I found a location, decided to recruit some teachers and some families and opened my own private school for special needs kids.
Wow, that's incredible. So you had some entrepreneurs gumption back then.
Yeah, 100%. And what was interesting about I knew the education piece. I knew how to hire and work with teachers. I knew how to work with families and students and create curriculum, but I had no idea how to run a business. So I was learning as I was going, and it was an uphill battle to try to figure out, how do I create a website? What's an email funnel? What's marketing? What is all of payroll? I'd never done payroll before. I was a small fish in a big ocean trying to figure out my way in entrepreneurship. Ooh, it was rough. You froze on me. I lost Olivia.
No, well, we're so sorry about this. We'll try to get Olivia back on in just a minute. And here she is.
There she is.
Technology. I think everyone in my building is on the internet right now. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm so sorry. I don't know at what point you lost me. Did you hear me ask a question?
The last thing I heard was about starting my school.
Starting your school. So I apologize for that. This is the world we live in these days. But I love to find out, like, having the decision, you made the decision, I want to build something that doesn't require as much red tape, a lot of bureaucracy. I want to create this school. What were some things, some early things you had to do in addition to recruiting parents and families to get that business going?
I had to learn a lot of systems, right? So I had to learn how to create payroll. How do I have, employment taxes? Where do I get insurance from? And now I'm having a school, so I need additional insurance because I'm working with minors. Things like not only and running rent, and if operating the building, like if the toilet's clogged or I need to fix a screen on a window, yours truly is the one cleaning it and fixing it. So it was literally running a brick and mortar school with all of the things that when I worked in a public school were taken care of for me. I never had to do payroll. So I was learning how to do it at the exact same time as I was trying to grow the business. So it was like I was working in the business at the same time I was working on the business. And it was very, very difficult. So I, of course, immediately tried to find support.
And how did that go? What kind of support did you reach out to and eventually secured for that business?
Yeah. I went to a few networking groups. I never had to network prior to being a teacher. You didn't network as a teacher. You just got your class and you taught your little community and that was it. But I would go to these networking events and it was all old white men and they were very salesy. They were like, hi, here's my card. What do you do? Da, da, da. It was very like, where are all the women? And the women I did meet, once they learned I was operating a school, they were like, oh, well, I can't help you. I'm a realtor or something. So I kept looking for these, opportunities to network and they just didn't exist. So I was complaining to a girlfriend who was also an entrepreneur. She was a photographer about it. Where are all the women? Where are all the women supporting women groups? And that's what led me to start having my dinner parties, which is how Bra really started. It was me and 5 girlfriends, a photographer, an architect, an interior designer, a hairstylist, and an event planner in my kitchen having dinner. And that was kind of the inception of Bra, that first dinner party.
I love the diversity of people that are around the table that all have their own individual skill sets. But I would imagine the lessons you learned from creating that school, getting like on the ground training, learning how to put pieces together, unplug a toilet, get staff, payroll, all of those things were lessons you likely had to carry into building Bra. I always find that, or I have found many times that when people create something, it's either out of something they lacked, they didn't have support, they didn't have a network, so they wanted to create it, or they did receive it and they want to pay it forward. And it sounds to me like these were things that you were in search of and you decided to create it because you lacked that in your own kind of career channel at that time. Tell me about how the dinner party went and how you went from, hey, this is kind of cool that we're all sitting around eating and talking about our needs. How do you go from that conversation to going to the website, click here and join Bra?
And join it. Yeah. So at that dinner party, we started talking about how there are no networking groups that support the needs of women in business and female entrepreneurs. What was kind of magical is at the end of that party is the event designer was hired by the photographer and the interior designer was hired by the architect. And they just started working together. And I still had my school, but it was slowly being acquired by another school because I was 3 years in and I was like, okay, I need to make the transition. This is getting bigger than me. So I either need to find a partner or I need to sell off the pieces. So this was all going on in the background while I had 2 kids in elementary school, all at the same time. So after that dinner party, the event coordinator was like, well, I have a friend who's a florist. Are you having another one of those dinner parties? And the interior designer was like, I have a friend who's an accountant. Are you having another one of those parties? And they kept bugging me to have another dinner party where it kind of grew to 6 to 9 to at one point I had like 15 women in my backyard who were all networking and working together over yummy food and cocktails. And so I thought, there's clearly something here. I think I need a website. And that's kind of where it came out of. And the idea of Bra, I wanted something that we all have an experience with, whether it's positive or negative. Every woman has an experience with a bra. And whether you wear one or not, you can definitely understand the levels of support a bra can get you. And that's where it kind of built from. And then once I started building my website, it wasn't like, if you build it, they will come. No, I still had to use everything I learned at the school, marketing strategy, email funnels, website design, all of those things I learned just fledglingly at my school. I now had a much stronger, deeper understanding of what I needed to do to apply it to now this new venture. I never thought it would grow as quickly as it did, but it ended up being this great transition from my school closing and this opening. And then I was able to work at home. I was able to be more present for my kids. It just created this whole wave of support for women. Support, get it?
Well, speaking of support, and the play on words, I'm curious to know, because I think a lot of times people get hung up on the name of what they're going to start. Like, what's the name that everyone's going to love and understand and want to click and find out more? And bra obviously really stands out. But tell me about that process. Were you asking people about different names? Were you sending out surveys, asking for feedback, or did it come to you in a dream and Oprah was like, bra?
Right. I was just with a girlfriend at happy hour, and I was like, I kind of have this idea of creating a female forward network for entrepreneurs, but I want it to be feminine. I want it to be fun. I want it to be a little bit cheeky. And I was like, what do you think if I called it bra? And I created an acronym around it. Because a bra is supposed to have support. It's supposed to lift you up. It's supposed to push things in the right direction. You're supposed to be able to dive deep into the cleavage of things. That I just thought all the pieces, kind of worked. And then that's when business relationship alliance. So the business is all of us have business, our business owners. The relationship is we want a community of each and support each other. And then the alliance is the idea that we're going to not only support each other, but we're going to bring all women. We're going to elevate all women, whether they're entrepreneurs or not, whether they're teens, whether they're our moms, it's the alliance of women coming together. And that's kind of where it went from there. And that easily created my core values, created the mission of bra, because it just seemed to make so much sense to be like, okay, well, if we're all searching for this, I have this niche that I can, and these needs that need to be met. So creating the core values was definitely collaborative of those first women who are now called the founders of bra. They really helped me develop the core values and the mission moving forward.
Thinking about alliance and what you described, people coming together, bringing other women into the fold. I remember talking to you about bra, and I had a lot of hesitancy about becoming a member because I don't like the cattiness. I don't like cliques. I don't like feeling like I'm in high school. I'm too old to also feel like I'm in high school. But talk to me about how you are kind of trying to break down those ideas of what joining something like this is really like.
Yeah, I think it really stems from the idea that we look at each other as collaborators and not competition. It was really, really important to me that we had a shared understanding that we are supporting all women, even if they are in your same field. How many life coaches can you have in one network? Well, you can have about 110 because they all have a different technique. They all do something different. I have jewelry designers, tons of jewelry designers. Some are a little bit more delicate and dainty, and some have really huge statement pieces. But there's room for everybody. So that's where it really was the founding principle, is that we can actually work together and advance all of us and not look at each other as competition, where it's like, you're going to take the job for me. There was a time when there was only room for one woman at the boardroom table. Well, I just made a bigger table. And I was like, you know what? We're going to get all these women in here and we're all going to be here, and change the kind of economic landscape of that by elevating each other. The other thing we do, I think that really sets us apart as a networking group, is we make the commitment to work with women within our network first. So whether you need an architect or a new pair of earrings for your mother-in-law, or a fantastic graphic designer for your website, we look within our directory to be like, okay, here are vetted professional women that totally get the broad mission and values, and they want to pay it forward. So we hire each other, and then we're all being elevated for that. It's really great how it just now happens Oh, let me go to the directory and see. I need a new haircut. Who can I hire? It's very cool.
Yes, well, that's what I was going to say. Like, I have gone to the directory. I went ahead and joined. I was like, oh my gosh,
I knew I was going to get you.
I joined and I have tapped into the resources that are available there. Wonderful women, like you said, who are experienced, who are entrepreneurs, and some of them are just getting started, and some of them are seasoned professionals. But it's a great way to be able to find a network, find a community, and then being put in a position to hire each other. And I think that is the big deal. It's not just about being friends and having happy hours together, although I'm not knocking happy hours.
Right.
And soft cheeses are wonderful, but we all need to make money in the end, and to join a network where like we can be higher, we can promote each other. That is very important to me, and I have found a lot of value in Garage for that reason, especially. But I also love that it has evolved into, at least evolved from my perspective and my level of involvement, to include other things that you offer, like your podcast. I think podcasts are really popular right now, and everyone's like, you should have a podcast. Like, everyone's thinking about podcasts. Tell me about your decision to not only just create a platform where people can meet and hire each other, but then create another opportunity to connect with female entrepreneurs through your podcast.
Yeah. So Get Carried Away is my podcast because I get carried away with my guests. And I wanted to amplify the voices of the women that wouldn't normally think I can't be on a podcast. Why would anyone want to hear what I have to say? So Carried Away is all about female founders, thought leaders, innovators, anyone that's looking for space to share their expertise. So I, of course, have a huge network of experts. So Carried Away, the podcast just created another opportunity for members to get their word out about what they're doing. It's a great marketing tool. It also allows me time to really connect closer and more in depth with my members, but also there are some that are natural speakers, right? That are natural about talking about what they do and sharing it. But there are some that have all of this knowledge and all of this expertise, and they just need someone to ask the right questions and put them in front of the right audience. And I think that's what's great about podcasts is you're not on a stage in a television studio in front of a huge audience. It's just you and I. And it just creates more opportunity for exposure. And it doesn't really cost anything. So I was like, let's get carried away. And of course, I have to know what else they get carried away about other than their business, like tacos. What is it? So it's a fun podcast, and it features all female entrepreneurs, some authors, some marketing strategists, some photographers. I've talked to everybody. I also am genuinely curious of how people got to where they are. There's always a great story. And you know that with Own Your Own Story I'm always like, well, how did you do that? So I just love to hear their stories. I'm really curious.
The granular details of like, well, you had the idea, but then you had to make it work. And that's something that I mention a lot, like you said in my workshop, Own Your Story, is you don't just kind of brush over like, oh, I was down to my last dollar and now I'm a millionaire and a published author. Well, what did you do between the dollar and the $1 million? That's what your audience wants to know, like the hustle that was involved, the expertise, the ups and downs of it. And I think podcasts are a great way to do that as well, is to like get the details of that story. How much time are you dedicating to that podcast? Like I said earlier in your introduction, you're a wife, a mom of 2, you've got Business Relationship Alliance, BRA, and now you've launched into creating media. How are you managing all of those things?
Well, I have a fantastic editor. I do believe to stay in your zone of genius, stay in your lane. So me learning how to edit a podcast, not really the best use of my time, but I can hire someone in BRA to do it for me. So typically I record twice a week for an hour. And then I create an intro similar to this streaming service and everything and send it to my editor, and she turns it around. She adds the music and everything. So I probably am only dedicating about 2 hours a week to recording because I knew I wasn't going to be able to tinker around with audio files. Like I can't do it. I can't build a website and I can't construct a podcast. So I know my strengths, and that ain't one of them. So farm it out, or I'd spend hours doing it, right? I'd spend 8 hours on one 45-minute episode. No.
Exactly. I think as an entrepreneur, you have to know, like, stay in your lane. You have to know your strengths or weaknesses. And if you're in a position where you can farm some stuff out, hire someone, a freelancer or an expert in your family and your network to do those things. So it's not an added burden, but it adds value to what you're providing to your members or your clients or customers, then you want to be able to do that. But now I'm thinking about this, Carried Away, obviously it's a play on your name. Bra has so many different names involved, the underwire, the push-up. Talk to me about your process for thinking through how you're branding these classes, these events, the collateral, and again, also your podcast.
Oh, I love that. And when you're an entrepreneur, everybody thinks branding is the most fun part, right? You have your logo and you have your colors and you have your mission and your ethos, you have all the thing. And I have a Google sheet that I literally just Googled and thesaurused bra, brassiere, over the shoulder boulder holder, like the parts of the bra, like there's a strap, there's a hook and eye. And I just plugged it in to be like, okay, well, I'm launching these courses and there's 4 courses. So that means there's a set of courses. So I guess that means they're a corset, right? So I just find the puns within it. And luckily my first name is also a verb. So you can get carried away. You can get, it worked out well. But you have to understand the cheekiness of bra, right? I know it's not for everybody. I know some women might look at it and be like, well, no, this pink, this like overly femme kind of fun brand ain't for me. And that's okay. I know I'm not going to be everyone's cup of tea or special sauce, but the women that get it, the women that really participate actively, the reward is tenfold, right? They get so much out of it. And it's so much fun to see them lift and support each other, find the humor in things, constantly. Like we just had our first new member orientation of the year, and it's called the fitting room. So you go in and you get fitted, and then you strap in and you learn all about the perks of bra. So I try to find it, keep it fun. I'm still running a business. I still have, to pay my, independent contractors. I have to pay myself. I have to pay for all the things. So I still need to be making money, but have a little fun.
Yes, definitely. If you're not having fun creating your own business, what are you doing? Go get a job.
Exactly.
So this is your opportunity to do what you love. But I love what you said about being true to who you are, to the extent, like if you're trying to have fun, you're having a play on words, not everyone's going to love you. And I think sometimes entrepreneurs, we make the mistake of thinking like, what do I create so everyone gets it? Everyone understands me and everyone takes part in it. When you do something like that, you'll really likely find no audience because you don't have a voice, you don't have a perspective. And when I think about the people that I'm attracted to, the brands that I'm attracted to, obviously bra is one of them. There's a certain perspective and voice that I am encouraged by, that I'm attracted to. Are there individuals who are in the game right now for you, resources that you seek out, people that you look to and say like, I like what they're doing, and you model, kind of to an extent, model your business around?
Yeah, I really love what Rachel Rogers is doing at We Should All Be Millionaires Club. She has the Hello 7 networking group, and her branding is brilliant. She does a great job of showing inclusivity in her brand. And I really try to make sure that you see that comes through in bra as well. But I really love what she is doing. I don't even know how this woman sleeps, because she's always on, Instagram Live, or she's always having a webinar. Like she appears to be very busy. She might have this all scheduled way in advance. I don't know, but she also has a podcast. But she is definitely someone who I'm looking up to. And I had to join her network because I'm just like, how did you do this? And it's just great to be around elevated women. And who doesn't want to be a millionaire? I mean, it's such a great name for a brand. Hello, 7 figures. Like, hello. Yeah. I love what she's doing.
The hello and the 7 million.
Yeah.
7 figures. Well, when thinking about how you want to elevate, where do you see bra going in the next couple of years, or the next couple of months even?
Yeah, it's been interesting as when the pandemic hit, luckily we still already had things online prior to the shutdown. We did have a lot of great in-person events. You attended Cocktails and Conversation, Women on the Rise, a lot of our fundraising efforts that were done in person. So moving to online actually opened up my platform outside of Los Angeles. Like I had a few members here and there that were B2B or service-based business, because you can work with a web designer or a graphic designer anywhere. They don't have to live in your same neighborhood. But as it opened up and I had more women showing up virtually from across the country, I realized, okay, well, let's create chapters. And I was always going to create chapters in each individual city. But what kind of came out of it is like the woman in Denver and the woman in Houston and the woman in Seattle, yeah, they want to have chapters geographically, but they also wanted to create something that was, a specialty or interest. And those became push-up groups. So the chapters I created are based on special interests, like women of wealth, health and wellness. We have the witches of bra. So if you're really into the woo, but you're an architect, those are our little micro communities within bra. Now, ideally, I'm eventually, as we open up, going to create chapters and ambassadors in each city, because when I look at my roster now of members, which is over 300 women, we're all over the place. So I'm like, okay, so we're just naturally going to be taking over. So let's just do it. Let's brand it, slap it, put some photos up, and let's just open the doors for more women to join. That's the whole purpose of it. So it's been really empowering to see the women across the country showing up for each other, hiring each other, working together. I didn't imagine it would happen so quickly in the last year. So I know the pandemic's been hard for a lot of people, shut down, out of work, but I've never been busier because I think people are so desperate for community now. And I already had one. So it just kind of worked out well for me that way.
Yeah, I think I'm very happy for you that you've had some success during this pandemic. And I think it is because you had a foundation that was already there. You had an element of your business that was online. And I think during the pandemic, people being shut down, locked down in their homes, sheltering in place, it gave them an opportunity to kind of reflect and think about how they were spending their time. Am I doing the thing that I want to be doing with my life? Is going to work or doing this job or living this life, even living in the city, the thing that I want to continue to do once the world does open up again? And folks have been seeking opportunities, like you said, to connect, find community, and to also dedicate themselves to potentially that calling that they may have been ignoring, that entrepreneurial spirit, like, well, if all the stars align, then maybe I'll open this business or maybe I will try that thing. And the pandemic really, for a lot of folks, I think, kicked them into gear. Say, like, if not now, when?
Yes.
Have you heard those kind of stories as members have continued to join Bra?
Oh yeah. I have a few members who completely pivoted. One was, she owned a brick and mortar co-working space. Well, that closed.
Wow,
During a pandemic, she launched an entire cookie line. So now she's making cookies that are actually pretty delicious. They're called the world's best cookie in the world, and they are the best cookie ever. But I've had members who pivoted online brilliantly, and have done really, and I have ones that maybe a photographer or somebody that has to be in person, an event designer, who's instead spent the time, I'm going to reorganize my website. Okay, and now I have all this time to do all my marketing. So I'm going to educate. I'm going to take those extra classes I wanted to. So they have found ways to still be involved in Bra, even though they're not necessarily hustling and working and just getting out there. Instead, they're like, I'm going to work on me, which I think is really, really important. So then when we are back, whenever that is, they're going to have this whole bigger toolbox of things. A bigger drawer, I guess, of resources to pull out. So people have pivoted, people have educated themselves. It's just amazing how we are so desperate for time together that I just created a platform and they just show up. We've done fun things, we've done educational things. We keep it fun and sexy, that's for sure.
What are you doing to keep yourself kind of at a good headspace with all of the things that are happening at the same time, being pulled in different directions? All of those things sound a lot of fun, but at the same time, it's still work, like you said. So how are you kind of keeping your head straight or on your shoulders intact?
I definitely have my community, right? So I've built a community, but I also need to be a part of a community that I'm not leading. So I have my 5 women that were founders of Bra that we still meet, chat, complain, cry, laugh. We do all the things. So they're kind of like my support group, and that's what makes me stronger. They also get me to eat better. They're like, let's go on a distance walk. They get me out of the house. I can complain about parenting or the puppy. Yes, I'm one of those people who got a pandemic puppy. But having that support group makes me stronger to support my community. There, as a leader, and as you know, as so many webinars you do, it is nice to sit in the audience from time to time. That's why I loved your workshop, because I got to talk about me and not have to be the one talking to everyone else. So I look for those opportunities all the time. And I just love learning. I'm just always looking for new opportunities of like, oh, I'll do that, because I like to be in the audience too.
I hear that. Well, I appreciate you sharing your story, Carrie, and especially the fact that you've taught us so many lessons about being really bold and speaking from a particular point of view, not knowing that everyone's not going to be before you, understand your branding or what you're trying to build. But when you build something that's genuine, that's authentic to who you are, your people will find you. They will
Absolutely.
find you. You work hard, you put in the effort, but you also kind of show that spirit. People are going to be attracted to that, the fun of it.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. And let's go on a distance walk soon.
Yes.
I need to get out of the green couch
Yes,
scenario.
I'm in. I'm totally down for that. I'd love that.
But how can people find you? I want to make sure we understand, people who are watching right now, how to get in touch, how to join BRA.
Absolutely. You're just going to go to my website, bra-network.com. Our next event is March 12th. It's a cooking class. So we're going to have dinner with friends, with some networking, and you don't have to be a member to come to this event. It's, in partnership with the National Pediatric Cancer Foundation. So we're raising money for them while we're learning a fun new dish to make and then having dinner with friends. So bra-network.com, or you can find me on Instagram at bra_network, and Facebook, Bra Network, LinkedIn, Bra Network. I'm the only one out there.
Bra Network. I love it.
It'll come up.
Thanks so much for being a guest on the show. Before we sign off today, I want everyone to know that we're going to start this new segment. It's called 1 Minute Wisdom. It's a little short chunk of information that we think will help you grow your business, understand your business, find a platform, find resources. Today's gentleman that's going to be sharing some 1 minute wisdom with us is Tristan. He's the creative director of 99 Designs, and we're going to say goodbye and hello at the same time. Goodbye to all of you, and hello to Tristan.
Hey guys, Tristan here. I'm the creative director at 99 Designs by Vistaprint. And this is Bruce. And so let's just jump straight into it. When it comes to logo design, the first thing you want to consider is what's actually unique about your business and try and bring that through in the design. So you should try and encompass the core of what your brand's about and bring through some of those key personalities. The other thing is that you want to make sure you're clear about who you're targeting with your customers and audience, so that the colors and styles used in the design will actually resonate with them and reflect what you're all about. After all, it is the face of your brand. At the same time, don't try and overdo it either. So keep it clean and simple, but at the same time, go for high quality, professional. It needs to be adaptable. So often logo designs are featured on large billboards, but at the same time, it goes right down to a small screen size on your phone. So potentially there's something memorable in the design as well, which you could use to connect with your audience. So maybe there's like a hidden message or a symbol. But, some examples of this, the Pinterest logo, which I'm sure you may have seen, it's, the letter P doubles as a pin icon. Another one, which is probably not as obvious, but the Toblerone logo, there's actually a hidden bear icon in the iconic mountain visual. So that's it from me. A couple of tips. I think Bruce is pretty done. Hope that gets you started, guys. Cheers.